In this video, I'm going to briefly explain how to navigate Canvas successfully so you can complete all of the assignments. It should be noted that everything in this course will be found on the Canvas site. So let's start over on the far left with Account. I highly recommend that you click on that and adjust your settings so that you'll receive notifications that are going to go to your email. This will be the most up-to-date information, and I often send reminders, things like, don't forget, exam 1 is due tonight. So checking your email daily and making sure those settings are coming to your email will help you be successful. Then you could also click on the dashboard, which I'm in the student view, so it's going to look a little different, which will show you a variety of things. If you're taking more than one class, you could click on Courses. One way to successfully complete the assignments is to click on Calendar. This is actually not what I recommend, which we'll go through what I recommend, which is the modules. But you can click on Calendar if this is what works best for you. So now that we're into the semester, you can see all the due dates and all of the assignments. So you can theoretically click on an assignment and it will take you right to that assignment and you can complete it. If you're a visual person, sometimes this works really well for you. Just a note of a few things. Things that have a little symbol for a movie are going to be Nearpods, which are assignments that are graded. Things that have the little present by them are extra credit. So that tells you these are an extra credit assignment. So there are some extra credit assignments throughout the semester. I highly recommend that you do them to really help boost your grade. There's going to be about 15 to 20 points for the entire semester possible for extra credit. So for example, one of those opportunities is to do the Exam 1 or Unit 1 study guide, and there are instructions on that, which we'll get to a little bit later. You can also over here on the side, you can change the colors, you can make it so that it is going to be what you want it to be. You can also do a calendar feed. So again, you can specialize this to what you want. If you want to email me, you can use the inbox, which is a way to email me. And I'm not going to talk about history or studio because we don't really use them. And then help, if you're needing assistance, if you click on help, there's all kinds of things as far as chats, ask your instructor a question, library chats, there's all kinds of resources. So let's go back to the course and actually talk about how the course is going to run. So this is what we call the course homepage. So again, you've got a stream view, a calendar view, notification view, whatever works for you. You have a little to-do list over here. However, you're going to be the most successful. And again, you can change those notifications so that they are tailored to what you prefer. So if we go back to that home page, and I'm going to scroll down, this is Biology 110, and it's going to list my name, Professor Good, my email address, office hours, office location, and a little welcome and how to change those settings. So if at any time you get lost, you're like, I don't know how to contact Professor Good, this is a place that you can go and get that information. One of the most important things, especially at the beginning of the semester, is to read the syllabus and ask questions if you have them. So you can click on the syllabus, you can download it. I do recommend that you print, there's about 3 pages at the end that have a list of all the assignments and their due dates, and kind of tack that up somewhere where you're going to see it to keep a reminder of when those due dates are. Announcements. So what those are things, I must have clicked on the syllabus, sorry. So here's the syllabus. If you click on it, it's going to look like this, and you can download it here, and we're going to close it because we don't need to do that. So if we go to announcements, I will have these often. So right now it says check back later. There aren't any because the course has not started, but there will be as soon as the class starts. Going back to that home page, there will also be announcements popping up right here. And these are very useful for things like exam 1 is due tonight. So if you look at your email and or you go to the Canvas site, those announcements and reminders will be there. If something changes in the course, which doesn't happen very often, but occasionally I make a mistake or I change a due date or something, an assignment's not working, instead of emailing me right away, you may want to check the announcements because I might have already sent something out about that particular situation. So where you're going to live most of the time is modules. This is where I recommend that you really go and spend some time. So we're going to click on modules, and this is where all the course information is. So the first thing is something I really don't talk too much about. If you're familiar with Canvas, you're good. But if you aren't, these are some how-to little videos and tutorials. So I'm going to collapse that one. And not surprisingly, you're going to start in the one that says, welcome, start here. So there's that syllabus again. So it's in 2 different places so that you can have it. And this is the video that you're watching, Professor Good Explains, Canvas. Here's some lecture FAQ, so frequently asked questions, some lab, some tips, and then some ICC resources. Testing Center, if you need to take a test on the Testing Center, you can click on there and make an appointment. Academic Support Center, that is a free resource with tutoring. So if you're struggling and for whatever reason you don't want to reach out to me, which please reach out to me, you can get free tutoring. Access Services is also a resource that if you are allotted extra time or things like that, you can reach out to Access Services. The digital Rud shelf is basically saying if you would like to pay more money for the digital ebook, which I'll talk about a little later, you can click there. So unless you want to pay more money, just leave that alone. Then we're going to scroll down. The very first thing you're going to see are the orientation assignments. Those are due at the beginning of the course. And literally what they are is getting you familiar with how this course works. So for the first one is a Nearpod. It's very long, so I'm sorry, warn you, but you can start and stop it as long as you use the same computer and the same browser. It's about an hour and a half because it goes through all the things you need to know: how to complete lecture assignments, how to complete lab assignments, how to, I go over the syllabus, so all kinds of things. Then you're going to do the little orientation Nearpod. I'm sorry, not Nearpod, little orientation video, and take a little quiz, which is a kind of a practice getting ready for Proctorio, which is our proctoring software. So now when we go through each module, here's how I recommend you are successful. The very first thing you see is what's called a page. So we're going to click on the page. And what the page is kind of an introduction to what we're doing on that particular lesson. So lesson 1 is the scientific method. And so it's going to list all of the exact same resources that are in the Nearpod. So if for whatever reason you've done the Nearpod, you've gotten your points and you're happy, but you just wanted to watch one of the videos, you could go here. I also give you some tips for labs. You're going to need a lab kit from the ICC bookstore. And here are those lab videos. So if there's a video in the lab exercise, you can click on the link, or you can just click here and it will take you right to those videos. If the link is broken, let me know and I will try to get it updated. So the reason why I prefer the modules as far as how to complete, you can just click next. And I have things in order of kind of how you should do them. So the very first thing is a bunch of resources. So lecture and lab resources. And what you're going to see are the outlines or what I call student or lecture notes, which I will go through thoroughly in the how to complete lecture video that you're going to do on that orientation. So let's go back to the modules because I don't want to repeat myself. I'm going to try to make this a little shorter. So now we are through all the lecture and lab materials. So we've got lecture notes. You're not submitting that. That's just your resource. Fill those in. That's what you're going to use to study for tests and quizzes. Same with the objectives. Those are just practice. Then here's the lab information. This is lab exercise. That is the lab. And then we've got what are called Kahoots. And Kahoots are practice. So they're not graded. They're just kind of like little flashcards that I'll have available. But they're an excellent resource that I have created for quizzes and exams. Then you have the due date, depending on what semester you're in. And then this is the list of assignments. These all in this particular lesson have the same due date and their points. So do the Nearpod first. In this case, you have a smart book. SB is smart book. You've got a homework, a virtual lab for the lab component of the course. This is a lab course. Then you've got your lab photos. And when you're all done, then you take the quiz. So again, I explained this thoroughly in the how to complete lecture and lab separate videos. So let's kind of recap a few things. Discussions we may or may not use, so it's depending on the semester. Grades is something you're going to want to look at. So mine's going to be blank because I'm not a student. But grades is where you're going to want to go frequently, and it's going to list all the assignments, and it will even have a little conversation bubble if I have commented. So go back and look at that because you don't want to keep making the same mistakes. McGraw-Hill Connect, super important. McGraw-Hill Connect is super important because that will take you to the e-textbook. If you don't know what that means, it is the electronic textbook. So you have paid for a textbook. Some students are like, we don't have a book for this class. You do. So you click here and it will take you to the website and you will read the textbook. College Tools is just what it sounds like. There are things that ICC provides, ICC's library, and then there's some online tutoring. So that is the best way to successfully navigate Canvas.